Okay, Max, we're talking about the pop music industry, talking about the programming of the music.
Yes.
And one of the things which was mentioned by James Casbott was a list.
Okay.
On that list was a young lady who was found dead very recently.
Right.
Now, this is very controversial, but you've mentioned that the very fact we're even talking about it, they'll know anyway.
I think that when you start talking, when you
We're
start
talking dangerous waters here.
when you start touching on the OTO stuff, you're sending out a frequency, and they're aware
And
of it.
this is basically Aleister Crowley and the open gate, the gate that he created at Loch Ness.
Okay.
And
Yes.
it's still open.
It's still open. Yeah. It didn't finish
Does
the
this
ritual.
Does this actually connect with the Loch Ness monster itself?
Absolutely,
So
I think so, because when he opened it and did that ritual at Boleskine house, and then but what actually he never finished the ritual, so he never finished it. It opened a huge gate that's there, and it was something to do with Baal or Belial.
Well, that's the god Bel, which is the name for the ford. Belfast is the ford at Bel.
Okay.
And Belfast is meant to refer to that god.
Yeah. Now he's one of the 72 Goetia. He's like one of the king's 72 Goetia demons. And
what are they? What's that?
okay, so you have King Solomon had a ring where he had power over. They're the lower astral level. Some are reptilian, some are just disincarnate shadow beings, some are fallen, any of the lowest fallen beings, and that's where hell comes from. Like the concept of hell comes from. It's the lower fourth dimensional frequency. Now we have in our DNA the ability to conjure and call upon them if a ritual is done in the right way. So you can, why ritual is so important to them is because whenever you do a ritual, you're then reactivating the morphogenetic field of anybody else who's ever done that ritual before. So if you do a ritual, you're reenacting everybody else who's done it before, and that you can, if you know what you're doing, you bring them into being. And each one of the 72 is defined as being used for a different thing. Some for money, some for fame, etc. So I don't know the exact details of each one, but I know that they're dukes, princes, kings of quote unquote hell. And then you bring them up, and then they can help you out for certain things. They can grant you certain things. I think it's where the genie in the lamp comes from, the concept. The jinn is still connected with that concept, but so Belial or Belial is the one that he was connecting with. Also, there's just trying to think of the castle in Scotland, which was the Queen Mother's residence. It was also called
Holyrood.
No, not Holyrood.
No, this is, I think a friend of mine went to that castle in way back in the 90s, which we talked off camera about, but don't want to mention the name.
Now that's in Scotland as well, and it's directly connected by tunnels to Boleskine. And Crowley was a royal anyway, really.
Yeah, but what do you mean directly connected by tunnels to?
Most of certainly, I'm sure this goes for France and Germany and Switzerland and all of the external architecture of the castles and main Gothic
This is
cathedrals.
something you referred to it in Canterbury.
That's one of the main ones, because so many energy grid lines are crossing there. They're connected. If you go underneath them, there's either portals or there's a tunnel system or a magnetic rail system that connects them all up. A lot of
magnetic rail.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. 4,000 Mark 4 speed magnetic rail system that goes under. But back to the thing, to the Crowley opening that door, he was trying to summon Belial in a 6-month ritual. 6 months it takes to do the ritual that he was doing, and he collapsed at the end. It was just a broken man at the end, and couldn't finish it. Left the house and went back to London and had a big fight with McGregor Mathers, who was the other member of the Golden Dawn. Sort of they were the two kind of leaders of the Golden Dawn at the time. They had a massive feud. They fought for 2-3 years, and McGregor Mathers was left a broken man, and just cracked and
So
destroyed.
both men were basically broken as a result of this.
Well, I think Crowley continued on. McGregor Mathers at the end of the war with Crowley. They disagreed
I'm
on
interested
something.
in this because one of the people I interviewed was a guy called Ron Adams, and
Yeah.
he lived in Crowley Cottage, and he was died soon after the interview because the Greys were continually attacking him.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is something which Lisa Williams has been pursuing, and we're trying to get the work of Ron Adams out there in some way or other. But this refers also to RAF Bentwaters and my abductions of his family there.
Right.
Big spiders.
Yeah, okay, big spiders, not the ones we were talking about
Not
yesterday.
the scuttler type. I'm talking about things about 12 feet wide.
Okay, no, I've never seen
Which
those.
then James Casbolt referred to as diamond spiders of
Of
Mars.
the
Saturn's moons.
Iapetus moon, Saturn moon, Iapetus, which is
Iapetus?
Yeah.
Is that where they're from?
Yeah. As far as I know, I don't. It's not sort of something that I know a lot about, but I've
I
heard other
think
people speak
Sarah
about it.
referred to that. Sarah's off camera now, but referred to war battle with them in Antarctica. Or something?
Yeah. It's not something I know enough about.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's stick to the basic ritual magics. And
This connects to Tony Blair too. Connects directly to Tony Belair. If you change his name,
Belair.
Belair. Actually, Belair in Beverly Hills is also connected to it as well.
Okay. So let's cut to the chase.
Yeah. Okay.
The Sir Bob Geldof.
Yes. If you're knighted, if you become a Sir,
daughter, Peaches.
If you become a Sir, Peaches Geldof, yeah.
And you're also saying that Geldof was responsible for the murder of Hutchison.
When I say responsible, he may not have been calling the shots from all the way at the top.
I mean, let's face it, his wife was having an affair with him, so he probably felt a bit mad about it.
Right, and he's a gangster. I mean, primarily.
This is all very serious accusations.
He's an Irish gangster, and he's.
What evidence do you have for that?
Yeah, I suppose so, because he's the head of. He does the Live Aid, and it's. Remember, he's working on reversals, so all these guys at that level are working on reversal. If you're heading, like the Royal Society for Protection of Children is the society that connects together that abuses children. The Live Aid concerts that are set up there that are about to save people in set up Ethiopia, Sudan, etc. are actually not. They're harvesting children. They're harvesting the kids connected to the King Solomon bloodline. And when a lot of these high-level Kabbalistic celebrities are getting children from there, they're finding specific children who have the DNA line from King Solomon, so then they're able to put energy or entities into them to continue on that way.
Now, how do they do that? What's involved?
Okay, so there's lists. At the highest levels, they have lists. They know where all the bloodlines have migrated to from the beginning. They know where they've all gone, all through Africa, Asia, North America. They know where they're at. Like, if you're connected to a bloodline, you're being tracked. They know where you are.
This is what people are saying the National Health Service is set up to do in this country.
Absolutely.
By the Nazis. It was set up by the Nazis when Britain lost the war.
Project Oak Tree was specifically to do with that.
Project Oak Tree was to do that? I thought Oak Tree was a time travel thing.
Oak Tree was tracking bloodlines from 1950, from the 50s. Actually, my family's connected to that. And they were tracking bloodlines from there. And the children of the parents who were born in the 50s, which would be me, born in the late 70s, were then tracked through another project. I think that's a little bit connected to Mannequin and Peasmore. I'm kind of going off track here, but...
well, it's relevant in terms of the fact we're so close to Peasmore here, in Little Wiltshire, Rothschild land next door, a lot of stuff in the Bargain last night, energies and stuff like that.
We were establishing that the Rothschilds are at the top, at the top level, the highest that it goes. The head of the Rothschild family is the Pindar. So it's the man who runs the whole show. Comes from the Rothschild family. And he's been doing that certainly for the last 200 or 300 years.
You're talking about basically the planetary the planetary or the solar system lord that runs the manor.
He is the go-between for the inner Earth reptilian species and the outer, the external hybrids. So he's the one, the go-between. He's the head. He calls. He was the only person who the Queen Mother would had to kind of cower away from. Was Pindar is above.
Right, and this is the model, basically the model where all planets are actually gates. They're surrounding
Absolutely.
black holes, and this is what Nassim Haramein and people
Absolutely.
are talking about. So
Yeah.
the inner Earth, the inner sun,
Yeah.
is the black sun.
Yes.
But it's got a residue of a light round it,
Yeah.
at the energy shell round it, which provides light for the inner Earth,
Right.
which is on the lower side of the Earth's crust.
Yeah.
We're just talking about it in a mechanical 3D way.
Okay.
And then that's the real inner Earth, whereas the underground tunnels, which are maybe a few hundred feet down, or half a mile down, or a mile down, those are nothing to do. We're not talking about
Well, there's
those.
oceans and forestry and all sorts in the pockets in the inner Earth. You know, you wouldn't.
So it's not one big empty hollow. It's
all
there's lots of complex lands, and is that
absolutely, yeah.
explained in some way by Lord of the Rings?
Totally, yeah, and the connections to Lord of the Rings. Tolkien was an insider and connected to the old before MI6. So he was an insider then and knew information. He was also Ian Fleming. Also, Ian Fleming and Crowley were good friends.
Yes, and also Roald Dahl.
Absolutely, yeah, but Roald Dahl is deeply entrenched. All of Roald Dahl's books are totally involved, deeply entrenched in mind control. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka now, when I watch it, it's ridiculous.
And then the remake with Johnny Depp, was it?
Yeah, and Johnny Depp.
Did Johnny Depp do it?
Yeah, Johnny Depp did it. Yeah, he's handled by, and I've forgotten his name, Tim Burton. Tim Burton, the director, Tim Burton, who's married to a Rothschild. She plays, I can't think of her name, but she plays Pandora Spock in the Harry Potter movies.
Right.
Helena Bonham Carter is her name.
Helena Bonham Carter.
She's actually she's the granddaughter of a Rothschild, and so her name's really Rothschild. She's married to Tim Burton. Those two have Johnny Depp has multiple personalities. Doesn't watch his own movies, as we discussed. Can't watch them because he doesn't.
So let's get back to the murder and killing involved with the rock industry.
With Peaches. Yeah. Okay. So
but basically, the link to this is James Casbolt stood up in the barge recently, annoyed a lot of people. He said a lot of things. We won't go too much into the detail, but one of them was this list of which I'm on it as endangered species. But also my former colleague Joanne is on it as a drone.
Right.
Also a number of other people, but crucially the recent death of Peaches Geldof.
Right.
Is that the right name?
Peaches is right, but
Peaches. The basic idea is that she was murdered.
Yeah, she got ritually murdered. Yeah, and so you remember all the ritual murders are all planned at the birth or pre-birth of the child anyway. You know.
Explain that.
So they already know. They already know that this child is going to be ritually killed at a certain time. They know it on the 19th birthday that this child is then going to be taken out. Happened with Eric Clapton and his child Connor Clapton, who fell out the window. Yes. So there's a price for fame and
power. We talked to Misha Johnston at the Super Soldier Summit. I talked to her, and she explained that her father explained to her that in order to maintain this contract, one member of the family had to do certain things, and she explained how she was taken over and she married off for 2 years. Did something.
Misha was?
Misha Johnson.
Yeah.
And that was that was the contract fulfilled.
Right.
I understand. Now she explained that in great detail at Basis 20, whatever the hell it was, at the Super Soldier Summit.
Okay.
Which I'm not allowed to go to this year.
You're not allowed to.
Oh, God, jeez.
Anyway. Scandal.
Yes, absolute scandal. Okay, let's cut to the chase.
So
Bob Geldof, daughter, ritually murdered.
Right, he's a sir. You can be sure if they're a sir, they're in the inner circle. If you're knighted, if you get that, the Queen knights you, you're in the inner circle of that. So you're in the inner sanctum, and you sort of become untouchable on that level, because once you have their protection, you kind of become untouchable. Paulie Yates, that was the name, right?
Yeah, Paulie Yates.
Yeah.
Interesting, photographed in a very important gentleman's club for Penthouse.
Yeah, she was a monarch, and she was used sexually. So was Peaches. She was kind of handed around, but I think that certain monarch women get very liked and when they want to hold on to these certain men, want to hold on to them. And Michael Hutchins, who I don't think initially was connected to any of that. I mean, he's multiple personality, but he's not connected to what's going on now.
I mean, when he died, the funeral he was given was practically a state funeral. I mean, live television carried by Sky News,
right,
for this pop singer who who basically died of a terrible thing. Very sorry, but this is rather overkill for a.
So when you give that much energy to, it's televised. When you're throwing, anybody who's watching it is throwing their energy, the sympathy to it. That energy is harvested, and so I'm assuming there was something important. I don't know what was important about him. I don't know.
I mean, this is covered in. This is. I might have just said it, but you said that basically Geldof was responsible.
He had written letters, and you can find these letters on the internet. He'd written letters to Hutchins saying, if you don't leave her alone, if you don't stay away from her, I'm above the law, something's going to happen.
So this is in the public domain, so we're not actually saying anything that hasn't already been said
already. That particular thing, no, I mean, that, you can find
a bit like the Diana letters are going to bump me off.
Right, and where she also, exactly, she used to call them lizards. Diana used to call them lizards. So they I think they had to destroy certain lines. Paulie Yates had to be, I mean, she OD'd, but I think there's something, more to it than that. And they're all Kabbalistic, and they're all connecting. OTO is based on a lot of Kabbalistic thinking.
What is basically the Kabbalistic thinking, just for people who don't know? Okay,
so you have the concept of the tree of life, which is actually missing one of the very important parts in it. It's one of the heart center parts. But it's a diagram set up to show your way through the incarnating planes of existence in this frequency that we're in. It's very accurate and very amazing information on there.
And also encoded in the works of Shakespeare.
Absolutely, which is Bacon, right? Really? Yeah. Bacon and a couple of others.
John Dee.
Yes, John Dee, who was the original 007, right?
Oh, well, we're talking, all right. We're talking Queen Elizabeth time.
Yes, he was, The reason it was 007 too is because of the 00 was his eyes, and the 7, he was the eyes for the Queen, was to cover up like that. So he was saying.
All right, very good. So, okay. So what happened with Geldof, and then of course we started the conversation based on U2 as well. Might as well bring all that in, the whole rock industry really.
Well, with the OTO, I think they seem to be pushing that a lot more at the moment as an enlightening sort of passage to find, and it's good for you. Crowley isn't bad. There's bad and good, I guess, are relative anyway. But certainly when you go that route. Going down and practicing those sort of levels, it gets particularly dark. I know a few people who committed suicide who were involved in the OTO.
So are we basically saying that anything that sounds good on a rock musician level, the whole pop music industry, is basically a satanic ritual cult to milk us?
I think that it's a little bit unfair perhaps to say anything, but I would certainly say that the industry itself, the main machine, if you're hearing it on the radio, if you're seeing it in the stores and in the industry like that, yes.
This is a particular interest to me because I did a lot of pirate radio, and I couldn't understand why pirate radio was so stamped on, because it really wasn't anything to do with a frequency. Using a frequency was a very naughty boy. But I mean, there must have been the vehemence in how they pursued that.
Yeah.
Exceeded the alleged crime, really.
Okay.
So there must have been some other motive. So this explains why only certain individuals are allowed to do this. Broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I'm going off track again, but walking the red carpet, when you walk down the red carpet, the implications are you're walking through the blood of the goyim, or the general populace, and because you're from bloodline, and that's what they're telling you.
The goyim being a Jewish
mass
word
public
for
sheeple,
just
sort of thing.
Scum from the earth.
Useless eaters, as Kissinger, right?
Yes.
What Kissinger said. Yeah. So if you're walking that carpet, you are, that elitist mentality.
I mean, Sammy Irwin refers to greatly that the this fifth race, the so-called Nephilim. He calls them the Nephilim, although there's lots of different racial types we can apply to these. What Chris Thomas calls Valon, who've come here to basically take over the planet.
Yeah, there's been like a wrestling match to do that, and they can't. You have to use the front human form to do it.
Yeah,
because it's too shocking otherwise.
Why? Explain. Sorry.
Because we've been doing the consciousness of the human stream that's here now is so used to just seeing and being told that the human being is at the top of the food chain and we're the rulers of this and that and we're that it's too shocking. Has been too shocking to bring in a new species and do it. It's not conducive to keep the control if they're going to do it that way. So they need to hide behind the human form. That's all in the Emerald Tablets, Thoth's Emerald Tablets too. It explains how that was
done.
Now
these Emerald Tablets are nothing to do with what John Irwin found. His team, not his team, he was involved in the team and discovered 2 data banks which are inscribed with fine lines like a CD, and they have moving pictures and information on them that he was involved with a raid in Jarraba in 1959 to get 2 of these devices.
Oh, they were actually looking for them.
They were actually looking for them, and that's why they were bumping off so many people all around the Middle East at that time, 57, 58, 59.
Okay. They found them?
And they got 2 out of the 6.
So there's 4 still.
Well, there were 4 at that time in the hands of others, but they were able to recover them from what would have been an equivalent of a Bilderberger type meeting in 1959 in the Middle East, which was designed to, and 2 flying saucers took off and flew away, big ones, huge things, and he went in, his raid was successful, they got them, but now they've got the use of these secrets and technologies, which is why we're having to tell all this stuff now.
Right, okay, I'm understanding, yeah. A lot of the information can be downloaded into crystals too. I think the crystal skulls, and going off track again, but the crystal skulls carry massive amounts of God mind information. If you can,
what's God mind? I
think so I'm thinking that might be the collective oversoul of this area of the universe. So if you could put all the information for all the technology that's necessary, all the information of the true galactic history, all the information of really what's gone on in the inner wars that's gone on, because this is just a massive, it's a prison planet, but it's an inner war constantly.
Okay, let's just get down to summaries. What is the Earth? Who are we? And what is the whole point of life and death here? If you have that.
Yeah, that's all right.
Wow. We're all ETs, 7 billion of us are all not indigenous to this planet.
Absolutely,
we have 5 races.
More.
5 broad types, okay, fine.
I think that you've got something, I think 13 streams, 13 streams
I mean, you've mentioned the Committee 300.
Yeah. I'm not talking
Coleman
about family. I'm not talking about bloodline families now. I'm talking about, they're always using 13 because it's a crucial number, crucial Kabbalistic number, and the letter M, or the number which is the 13th letter of the alphabet, or that is that's why you have McDonald's M, constantly imprinting on your subconscious, that because 13 is the birth and death cycle. So keep coming back. You die, you come back again, you're coming back again. So most of us here are caught in a loop, in a cycle.
Mobius loop, like in infinity.
And over and over again, incarnating in similar lifetimes.
Is that related to the precession of the equinoxes, the way the Earth solar system and this part of space goes through this convoluted...
It reinforces it too when you see that. I mean, I think we talked about it yesterday. When you're seeing that and the sun coming up and going down, and the whole system like that reinforces. And so it's a ritual in itself.
Okay, fine. So we've got the 13 families.
I think it's 12 or 13 different genetic races that are here.
I mean, we're talking about the Sasquatch,
which is a bear race. Sasquatch is the
original
human hybrid.
The original hominid race here that was brought here by...
Yeah. The original humanoid race is Lyra, is a Lyran race, is the original human race. The Lyrans turned into the Pleiadians, but the original ones are blonde, blue beings from Lyra, long time ago.
Now you're talking, Irwin's was referring to, mentioning this because this connects with the basis things, but the thing is that he's saying that or he was briefed in 1959 or 57, that the original hominid species here, one of the earliest ones, were the Sasquatch that lived for 900 years, and they fought and ate and danced with the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs ate them. That's that sort of timeline. You're talking about an earlier race or species?
Well, the Lyra star system is much before that, millions of years old. The original humanoids, and who then became sort of the Pleiadian or Pleiadian system. There's been a huge war between these blonde blue Nordic beings and the Draco, the Alpha Draconis. I think they like the genetics of them, so they've sort of been chasing them around all the way.
So who's been chasing you around?
The Draco, this particular reptilian species, which is the ones from the Orion area, Alpha Draconis, the really big dinosaur-looking reptilians, have been warring with the Nordic blonde blues for millions of years, and the war was brought to Earth. That's when you had Atlantis and Lemuria. Atlantis was populated by the Nordic blonde blues, and Lemuria was populated by the reptilians. But you can never have a reptilian and mammalian species getting on because they're complete opposites. So how to make a being in constant confusion, give it a human body and put split of mammalian and reptilian genetics inside it, so we're constantly at odds with the way we feel.
But then there's also this thing about now, where which is the whole point of the Casbolt thing and Jeff Scott thing, where you have a reptilian unity to create a new bloodline, where you have the swastika marrying in with the Star of David. That the alien movement is talking about that.
Right, the Raelian.
Yeah, the Raelian. They're the people who've publicly been known to do the first cloning.
Okay.
Publicly. Okay.
I know a little bit about it. I'm not, but that makes sense.
Why does it make sense? Is it the creation of a new bloodline because we've got a problem? They've shot themselves in the foot.
Certainly for a while they interbred, that this particular reptilian stream interbred too much, and so they overdid the reptilian DNA, so they weren't able to hold a physical mammalian form, and which is no good. So the DNA was becoming decrepit, and they would have to continually consume DNA or hormones from mammalian beings, animals or humans, but humans would be better.
Cows.
The greys, which are reptilian and
I mean, there's a lot of cow stuff going on.
Yeah, take the internal organs, take the whole system.
Cattle mutilations.
Yeah. Pigs. So the pig too. So the pig, if they
is that why Jews can't eat bacon?
The domesticated pig is disturbingly a cross between a human and a wild boar. So that's why they say it's the most intelligent animal. So initially, before
we treat it really badly.
Yeah, absolutely, and consuming it is basically cannibalism in a way, unfortunately.
Energetically.
Yes, energetically. Yeah.
Okay, we're a bit off the point from the rock industry, and but what about the wider aspects of the so-called satanic? I mean, there's various videos on YouTube about and in the media about major rock figures, people like Bob Dylan.
Jimmy Page is the one that comes to mind, who bought Boleskine House. Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, the lead guitarist, bought Boleskine House and lived there for a couple.
That's the south bank of Loch Ness.
Yes,
and
beautiful
I was there,
house.
been there, yes.
Yeah.
Because the reason for that is it never sees sunlight. It never gets direct sunlight.
Okay.
Because of the way that the valley is and the latitude, the sun can come up and down all day long, and wherever it goes, it will never see direct
Crowley
sunlight.
was very careful to pick the exact right place to do this ritual that he was doing. He took a long time and was very careful to get the exact latitude, longitude, degree place, and that was the perfect place.
And that is a fault line, and that part of Scotland is part of the oldest part of the North American landmass. It's not part of this European landmass.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That section, the rocks, are very old.
And so you think Loch Ness is an interdimensional gateway in and of itself. I don't really know that much about Loch Ness Monster. I don't know. I just know that the site.
Or they've just used it as a
cover.
As a cover if you see anything odd.
Possibly connection. As from what I know, she was connected to one of the alphabet agencies' way of tracing particular bloodlines that were coming out.
But it's a time travel thing. Were they going back in time?
I don't know.
You did mention time travel.
I know.
Having coffee somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't
explain that, how certain groups were going back and forward in time.
Yeah. So there's two Montauk experiments that were set up. One at Montauk Point near New York in the U.S. There's also one next to the Alsace-Lorraine region of France. There's a whole Montauk setup that's done there. Actually, that's the one that's used now way more than the one in the U.S.
Do you have any closer details to that?
It was done. It was used for the same thing. I mean, so Crowley is connected to both of those too. Crowley was directly connected.
Yeah, and the Greys.
Yeah, and he was working for MI6 too. Crowley was working as
the Secret Intelligence Service.
Through the First World War, he was doing stuff with them, and went over to New York and worked for them there. Then connected with Winston Churchill too. Crowley was very. Used to admire Winston Churchill. They used to sit and talk a lot. Crowley was connected to Hitler. Used to sit and talk with him.
And it's interesting that Prince Charles in today's papers is saying that President Putin of Soviet Russia is another Hitler. Is a Hitler. He's compared him to Hitler.
Oh, really?
Which I think is very interesting.
Because he's connected to Rasputin, too. Direct descendant from Rasputin, who was the master black magician who attacked the Russian, or destroyed almost the Russian royal family in the 1800s, maybe I'm wrong, 1700s, 1800s.
Yeah, early 1900s, and then took a long time to get bumped off. Yeah.
Right. Oh, they tried to kill him 7-8 times and couldn't kill him. They stabbed him, drowned him, shot him, and yeah. He was really so. He's the.
So what about the Rasputin? There's a
So you got
But Putin is, on some of the conspiracy magazines, been heralded as somebody who stopped World War III.
Okay, if he stopped it, there was a good reason for it, and it wasn't to be the savior of humanity. If he stopped it, it wasn't for helping you and I out, or it was doing it because he was doing it for selfish reasons. You can be sure of that. He has very extremely high energy. He's one of the high level. But remember, he's external though. Still, we see him in the news. We see him externally. So he's not at the top of the pyramid. Anyone you see in the TV is not. So he's still.
In other words, if you know the name, heard it.
They're not running it.
Yeah, and it's the usual phrase. If somebody says they know something that they don't know it. So, I mean, in many respects, we don't know it either.
Right. I have to just go with what's happened to me and with what I feel, and that's the best I can do. That's all we can do. Yeah. He's well. If you look at Vladimir Putin really carefully, you'll see that he looks like the royals, the Windsors. They're in sort of like the same. He's just another expression of that Windsor, Saxe-Coburg, Gotha, Germanic. Reptilian bloodline that's running.
Now there are
Russia.
some people who are saying, I won't mention them, are saying that they're ready to leave.
They
have been found out
in a little bit of trouble,
and they're ready to pack their bags and go.
So they want to take everything out. They're like, if we can't have it, we're going to mess it all up for everybody else and then leave. And that's what they're planning. They've got the technology to get off here if everything goes to crap, you know?
Yeah. And what is that technology? Is jump gate technology or secret space programs,
both
platforms, or what?
Absolutely, both. They know where all the jump rooms are. And,
which is one of the crucial things about John Irwin's thing, where the technology has gained that if you put all 6 of those bits together, you would have power over all the gates.
Oh, right.
In other words, the physical misalignments that have happened over time with the physical entrances on the Earth's surface, with degradation or whatever it is, it will reconnect all those. That was one of the things about those things, from what we understand. So this is 55 years ago.
Yeah, so they've done it then. If that was 55 years, it's been handled and it's been done now.
So where does this bring us to this present time? I mean, I know we're rushing here because we've got to get out of this place very soon, but you got to catch a train and things.
Yeah, we got a little time. Yeah,
but what's the solution to this in terms of the rest of the so-called humans? You might want to survive and do something a bit more positive.
Right. I think that with the information and with the work that people like yourself and others are doing, if people on this planet are aligned with that higher frequency thinking, they're going to their higher self or their oversoul is going to make sure that they're in the right place at the right time, so they don't get wiped out. Because there are plans to do big wipeouts. I mean, the Georgia Guidestones,
exactly.
That is unfortunately is going to happen.
They must have a technology to clean up the mess, though.
Right. They've got terraforming technology where they can reset, restart. They can make the trees grow in the desert. They have that technology very, very quickly. One of the things
I've just interviewed is a guy talking about some kind of cybernetic grass.
Okay.
Which can grow.
Like
I mean, Jesus, we're talking about grass, ordinary grass. So they will replace ordinary organic grass with this stuff which will communicate through the internet.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a cyber grass.
Okay.
I can't believe I've just said that.
Right.
But why do they need cyber grass? It means they're maybe talking about a cyber world.
Well, if you get rid of and replace all the organic life forms here, which have which are connected,
destroy all Mother Nature.
Right. So you're taking the female out of it again. They've really done as much as possible to repress any female energy, which is creative force energy here. So if you're replacing organic life form with manufactured life form like that, you're destroying the human heart even more. And you've got the New World religion, which they want to implement. And if they want to put all this together, they've got to make sure they've got almost all their pieces into place. It's just things like this, doing this sort of, putting this information out here, because the energy we're giving off energy fields from this building that we're in now, and somebody 10 miles away can pick it up unconsciously.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's a problem.
Yes.
It's a problem for them.
Yeah.
So things like this make a far bigger impact than just the people who are going to watch it on the internet.
So how does humanity break this loop and walk on and as a way as it should be? I mean, humanity, if we look at the books of the Anastasia, the Ring of Cedars, the capabilities of humans living with nature, living with all the animals, and the wisdom and the capacity of higher thought and living in a positive way. I mean, the Russians have been trying to, in that area, to teach new children, how to live in a higher consciousness way, and it's been under attack. If one reads the 8 books by I think a man Meg Ray.
Yeah.
How do we make that happen? How do we survive? How do we survive this?
I think.
Is there a solution? Or do you have a solution?
I mean, I mean, I think what you're saying is right in terms of obviously you wanna get hold of the children, and they're the ones who are going to kind of create the new kind of thought forms and the new consciousness here. But it's very difficult to do it outright like that, because they have control of that. Anything to do with any of the system, the external system, that's education system, law system, all the systems are all inverted. So it's very difficult. I think this has to be collapsed before. This has to all go down.
I mean, this is something the Black Goose talked about, solving.
It's going to reset. We're like at a reset point.
All life on the earth.
Yeah, like the DVD has come to the end, and it's going to restart again. But we've got to this has to end first, because you can't create a new thought structure, which is a new education system, in the present state that the world's in. It won't work.
This is something which Mary Rodwell's talking about in great detail. The new children, the new higher children, the DNA is changing.
Yeah.
But in the education system globally, seems to be designed to attack them,
totally,
shut them down, or create them into hyperactive children. They must be ill.
Right, giving them medications.
You medicate them back to.
Well, these medications are shutting down anybody who is sensitive, anybody who has those high gifts. The stimulants that they give them.
So in many respects, Sarah's life being shut away
was a very good way to stop her doing what she came here to do. Absolutely, and they did do a pretty good job of shutting her down, and they can't anymore. But they and it's not going to plan. I don't feel, for what they had for her. But,
who is they, and what can we do about it? What can others do about it? How can others do that?
I think a lot of volunteers have incarnated here into this human this stream of consciousness that we're in, this frequency that we're in right now. And but the thing is, they have every human being has an energy signature and a sound harmonic vibration and it's individual. When you come here, you're creating a sound frequency. They have complete tracking of all those people.
This is what Google have publicly stated.
This is targeted individuals. This is why where targeted individuals come from. So they know you're coming before you're coming. And so and that's the volunteers. I mean, one would assume that you are also that, and this is because you're opening up, you're shaking the system up, and so you're under attack, like we talked about when you got hit with that wrought iron gate that caused you all the problems that happened with you. The same thing, and a lot of the issues that I've had.
Ball, but we'll not talk about that right now. It was way beyond coincidence the way that happened.
Yeah.
So what about yourself, Max?
Yeah.
What about you, Max?
Okay.
Where did you come from? Because it was a surprise to see another Brit at the Super Soldier Summit. And we briefly talked about that at the Super Soldier Summit last year. So we got another Brit on the scene. Yeah. And I've been speaking to another guy called Kieran, who's full of implants. And he's hulked out. He's had the hulking out experience like Dave Marrow.
In the palms of my hand, I have two of them. And then you can see the line scars.
They're called T27s.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Well, the T27s are actually an animal tracking implant.
Okay.
Designation.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I have one that I'm aware of in the top of my thigh here. One here, and there's a birthmark I have on my right shoulder, and underneath there I have buzzing that goes on underneath there. The one in my leg, even when it feels like
the right knee, below the right knee,
it's at the top of my thigh here. It feels like a cell phone. When you have a cell phone buzz, you're vibrating. It does that, and when that's connected with the buzzing I get in my left ear. So these are just, this is just tracking stuff and ways to steer you off course. Using sound weaponry, they like to use sound, definitely on me, use sound weaponry.
Acoustic scalar wave technology.
Yeah, because I'm very, very sensitive to sound. And one of the attacks they did on me actually was in my throat area. Throat chakra was something they attacked. And because I can heal through the voice. You can do healing. When you're speaking to somebody, you can use healing from vocal sounds. And if you shut that down, that was a way.
So you've gone through a similar path to James and others. Have you met others?
I have met a couple of others.
Sarah Stanger?
I haven't met Sarah. No, I haven't met Sarah Stanger. No, I know who she is, and we've spoken, and she remembers me.
And Nina Valent?
Yeah. And Nina's another one. Yeah, these people have had some mirrored experiences. It was amazing to speak to anybody who's sort of gone through anything similar to that, because for the longest amount of time, why would you want to tell anybody about any of these things? One, it's shameful. So the things that happen put a lot of shame on you, and two, there's always the thing that someone's going to cart you off. Yeah. So you generally they play on that. No one's going to say anything. They also have all these hand signals. It's imprinted in that if
you talked about this. You talked
that's
about
the symbol for Horus too. Yeah.
Colleague of ours
who's used that absolutely, and that is a way to stop you from speaking, to shut you down and stop you from speaking. Yeah. See, even speaking about it kind of bugs me a little bit.
Now, you were interviewed with Kerry Cassidy.
Yeah.
And Michael Prince.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate interview, really. I was very, very...
Do you want to talk about that? Is that something?
Yeah, I'm not just going to tell the truth of what my perspective was about it. It was just the setup was a little bit unusual. I wasn't expecting it to happen, and I think that Camelot have done a lot of good work. I've watched a lot of the stuff, and it's been, So with my DNA, I know. So the DNA that I'm carrying a split, 50-50 split DNA. I have Sirius A DNA, and I have Anunnaki DNA. But it's a perfect split. When I was born, I've said this a number of times, when I was born, a line went down the center of my body, and I turned two different colors for about 30 seconds, purple and yellow, and then they took pictures, and then it faded away, and that was a symbolic reference
That
to...
must have been a programmed response, so that it would.
So they would.
They would know.
I think so, but I don't.
Like that looks like a signal.
Well, they took me away from They took me away from my mother immediately, and she remembers just kind of passing out, and then waking up a few hours later and screaming, you know, "Where's my baby?" And she didn't know where they'd taken me. I think that they have to immediately traumatize the baby to create the fracture that's needed for certain things. So if you you traumatize the baby.
Slapping the baby that way of doing
Traumatize it, absolutely. In the lights, they're using those halogen lights on a child when it comes. Yeah, you're doing some damage.
And that's why
with
they don't like home births.
Right, they don't want home births or swimming pool births, or which is a more far.
Certainly, Sarah Goodley's done a lot of work on this. Tremendous lady and her team of people. Well, as we're running out of time and light, and the rain is pouring, do you've got any sort of things to say about what's been going on, or?
A massive amount of infighting and jealousy and backlash and fallout from all sorts of stuff, and I really don't want to be a part of any of that, because the reason I got involved in this in the first place was to find out and about what happened to me and help other people who'd gone through trauma.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Kathy Morgan's thing. She wants to find out what's happened to her.
Yeah.
So in many respects, as we're really running out of time.
Perhaps it was for selfish reasons I even got involved in it, Miles, because I wanted to know what's going on with me.
Yeah.
And it's turned into, okay,
but
well,
we seem to be allowed to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something else around which is letting us do this.
That's
or they just are predators waiting to pounce.
That's very interesting. I mean, there has to be some aspect of free will, though, in what we're doing. I mean, is it all scripted?
Giving up our powers, we're running out. We're really about to shut down here, but really, well, just in case we do shut down, Max, thanks very much for Basis 37, and in England where it rains, and it's pouring with rain now in Wiltshire again, and Sarah, wonderful to see Sarah,
brilliant,
and it's been good fun, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think the unwelcome visitors on this in this sector. It's time for them to leave rather quickly.
Okay, this is the new ones or the ones w'ho've been here for a while?
The ones who've been here for a while.
Yeah.
Who are the new ones?
Well, this is what we've been and I've been talking about, and it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me that there's kind of a new force that's taking on. But I don't know what it is, Miles. I don't know what it is.
I've got a very strong sense of that as well.
This is something that we know never, that's not been spoken about before.
Yeah. Big time new. Yeah. Old guys move out.
I mean, the ones that are running it now are ancient, though. You got to know that ancient force. Okay. The Dracos are old. There are ones above. They were created too. Yeah. I mean, they're not even from the Draco. Not even from this star system at all. They were placed here to cause havoc, to be the polarity, to be the dark or the shadow, so that when there has to, it's.
Well, it's a bit like assuming that time is a linear thing that never changes.
Right.
Some things change,
Yeah.
Leases run out.
There you go. Yeah.
Leases run out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have to hand over. When you own something for a while, maybe you only have it for 100 years. You have to hand the US.
Maybe, as John Irwin has mentioned, the lords are coming back to the manor and they're not happy what the butler's been doing. Right,
and so someone's going to get in trouble for that.
Big trouble.
Been not taken care of in the correct way.
Yes, yeah.
And they're rushing now, sort of panicking a little bit.
Yes.
So we'll see how that unfolds.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, brilliant.
Good day.